the rugged desert outside Yuma, Arizona, this is Outpost Outspoken. Outpost Outspoken is the official podcast of U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground, which conducts natural environment testing of military equipment in Arizona, Alaska, and the tropics. Hello, I'm Mark Schauer. Munitions and Weapons Division Test Officer Johnny Clark is highly regarded by his peers, in large part because of his enormous commitment to the Proving Grounds mission. But working at the Army's premier test and evaluation facility was not something he expected would happen. A Safford, Arizona native, played basketball in high school and was majoring in agricultural engineering at the University of Arizona when he met a recruiter from YPG at a job fair. When you were at University of Arizona, had you heard of Yuma Proving Ground?
Nope, never heard of it. Never heard of it until I met some recruiters at a job fair.
Now, your degree is agricultural engineering.
Correct.
So were you skeptical about working at an Army proving ground with that kind of background?
No. My minor was in mechanical engineering, so most of my ag classes were based on machinery, ag machinery. And actually I had an internship with AGCO, a major manufacturer of ag machinery. And so I kind of feared the transition from ag machinery to military machinery isn't that big of a jump.
So you've been here for nearly 20 years now,
yeah,
right?
19, yeah.
And have you been on the munitions and weapons side the whole time?
Yes. Yep. I started off with EC3, was with them for a year and a half before I went government.
Now you did a lot of mortar and counter-mortar radar testing over the years.
Yeah. So the majority of my work here has been done, or was on the counter-fire team, so radars, intercept systems, that kind of stuff.
To the extent you not only did it here in Yuma, but up at Cold Regions Test Center too.
Yeah, we did a pretty major test up there back in 2013.
Is there anywhere else within DoD that can do the kind of testing that you did on those radars, like what we do here?
Not to the scale we've done it. We really are the experts there when it comes to radar testing.
And there's a lot of complexity in setting that up. You have to...
Sure. Yeah, you got to worry about the gun side of it and the radar side of it, so you got a lot of moving pieces.
And arrange for artillery fire.
Yeah, artillery, mortars, rockets. Yeah, we even did some small arms. Yeah, a lot of things.
Well, now you've also done some mine countermine testing over the years.
Yep, the last 2 years I've been doing mines, countermines, demolitions.
Is there a lot of overlap between those two facets of the testing?
Not really. It's a totally different world over here.
Interesting though.
Very interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of high-tech, neat stuff coming down the pipe right now in the mines, countermines, and demolitions world. Yeah.
I mean, these last 5 years or so with the efforts at Army modernization and transformation, have you noticed a difference?
Well, I've noticed a difference because I've changed teams, so I've seen a whole different world in modernization of the Army. So in that respect, yeah, I've seen a lot of changes in the last few years, but I don't know if it's because I've changed or because Army modernization has changed.
We did a lot of support for Project Convergence 20 and 21.
Yeah, a lot of technology there, and a lot of that incorporated a lot of the stuff I was doing in the radar world, radar and counter fire world.
So you're almost 20 years in. You must like it somewhat.
Sure, I love it. I love my job.
Now you've done a lot of community service work over the years too.
Sure, through my church and through Boy Scouts, through a lot of different programs, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to the extent that you led Boy Scout trainings.
Yeah.
Here at Yuma Proving Ground over the years.
Yeah, I was involved with 3 different Boy Scout leader trainings, meant for training the trainers. Yeah, typically there was, I think, about 30 students and then a staff of 10 or 15 trainers.
You've also distinguished yourself during organization days playing basketball.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I played, but...
Well, you played growing up, I imagine, from the looks of it.
Yeah. My height leads me to, doing well, I think, for basketball and volleyball. I've enjoyed volleyball as well.
Johnny Clark, really appreciate visiting with you today.
Thanks, Mark.
Prior to his current role as an equipment specialist in YPG's S4 Directorate, Eddie Pearson supervised the Proving Grounds motor pool for 15 years. In his off-duty time during those years, he coached both City League and travel ball fast-pitch softball teams that his daughter played for. When you started working out here, even though you're a Yuma native, had you heard of Yuma Proving Ground before?
A little bit. Didn't really know what it was or what went on out here. But I had heard of it, being how I was born and raised here.
Had you worked in the motor pool the whole time?
No. When I first came out, I was in the ammo section, chambers, and then left YPG to go dredge at the Bureau of Reclamation for a few years, and then came back 2001 and started here at the motor pool. And then I think in 2006 became the supervisor, and was a supervisor until last year, 2022.
What does a typical day look like in a motor pool at Yuma Proving Ground?
Constant change, supporting the test side of it, the mission side, which is, can change at the drop of a hat with the testing and everything that goes on, supporting it, WTI, moving equipment, moving guns, recovering airdrop packages. It's a whole lot, but it's keeps you on your toes, that's for sure. Never a dull moment.
Some of the places that are used for testing out on the range are extremely remote and isolated.
Yep. It takes it takes sometimes an hour and a half just to get to where you're going. So that's and that's for everybody. It's travel time is a big part of it. The roads. It's hard on equipment, hard on trucks, trailers. Keeps the maintenance shop busy, that's for sure. Tires. So, just getting to where you need to go, is a job in itself.
Like, for example, I've seen where you've had to deliver support vehicles, support equipment on these tall hills, unimproved roads going up the hills. And
Yeah.
the skill it must take amazes me.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys, they all had their CDLs, so they come to YPG with experience. Takes skill to do what they do. It's definitely a learning curve from anywhere else, and then all the lines of fire and everything. It's unique.
And having to do it safely, too.
Absolutely, that's the main thing. Try to get there in one piece, come home in one piece. It's it's not always easy to do. There's a lot of things that can happen with heavy equipment and the different things that can go wrong. So,
What's your job these days?
now I'm a equipment specialist with the S4 logistics under plans and ops. So it's quite the change from running the motor pool.
Now, for many years, you coached fast pitch softball.
Yep.
How'd you get into that?
I was drug in a neighbor of mine, I think when my daughter was about 7 or 8, and was reluctant just because of time and, working out here. But my wife talked me into it, and, 10, 12 years later, there I was coaching travel ball, local leagues, and there's a few of us out here that did it, and it's your own time. You're not paid. you're dedicated to practices and tournaments once a month, twice a month, and it costs money. It's not cheap. A lot of the kids would fundraise themselves, or you had dues and everything, and it was good. I wouldn't change it for the world. It was good to see the girls mature and turn out to be pretty good ball players. So
Your daughter pitched for Arizona Western College eventually, didn't she?
she did. She got a scholarship. She was the player of the year at Cibola, and then got a scholarship to AWC. And once she got out there, she pretty much had enough and wanted to just start working, and had enough playing softball. So, we were disappointed, but somewhat relieved it was all over. But it's a big part of your life, It's 10, 12 years of just softball. So, when it ended, me and my wife were kind of like, what's next? What do we do now? But it was a good time. Good to see the girls all get together and stay together. And to this day, they're all, they all remain friends. So it was a good thing to see.
Eddie Pearson, really good visiting with you today.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
This has been Outpost Outspoken. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time from the Army's busiest test center.